I'd like to thank everybody for coming out. We're going to be doing the JV basketball presentations today. And first off, as a coach, I think one of the best things that can happen to your team is for your team to improve over the year. And I think that's the best thing about the team that we had as JVs this year. We started out, we had some problems winning some games, we had problems even being close in games. And as the year went by, we got much more competitive. I think part of it was due to practicing every day with the varsity team that was 19-1, kicking our butts. But the improvement was shown by all of our players, and that was real good to see. A few things I would like to thank some people: Coach Overy, Coach DeFranco for helping with the JVs this year, Mr. Sayers and his staff, all the people that helped us, and especially the parents. With this JV schedules, we changed schedules, we did the weightlifting, we moved things around a lot, and for putting up with all of that you did this year, I want to thank you. Okay, I'll be calling up the players individually. Our season ended up, I should point out that our season ended up 5-15. We started out 0-8, so we had a rough start, winning five of our last 12 games. And of our 15 losses, 10 of them were 6 points or less. So we were competitive, especially towards the end of the season. And like I said, that was very good to see. Individually, I'll call up the players. First, Kevin Bales, step up here. Kevin was one of our most improved. He had to play wing, he had to play guard, he had to play post. Kevin did a little bit of everything for us. His best game was when he started at Wellington. He did a real good job getting some rebounds for us and playing in that game. Next person up, Greg Matheson. Greg played mostly wing for us. Greg had, for the year, he shot 38% from the field, 64% from the free throw line. Pretty good, very valuable backup. We used him quite a bit backing up our wing players this year. Next, John Persinger. John did some real nice things for us, considering he's not as big as most of the post players. We had him playing post. That's where we needed him this year. Did a little bit of job at the wing, mostly post. He's 36% shooter on the year. Got a lot of valuable rebounds. Had a real good game against Oberlin. Six points for us. 2 for 3 from the field. I had 2 steals. He did a real nice job. Next up, Justin Drummond. Justin was one of our backup posts. Finished up scoring about a point a game, 6th in the team in steals. Only had 2 turnovers the entire year. Did a real nice job stepping in for some of our post people. Enjoyed having him. Next up is Bob Cook. Bob's not here today. Okay, Bob's not here. Next up is Johnny Combs. Okay, Johnny's one of our freshmen we brought up. He had to make a big jump from 8th grade basketball to JV. I think he responded real well. He shot 46% from the 3-point line, which is excellent. 2.5 points a game, 2 rebounds a game. He was 5th in steals, 6th in assists, 2nd in block shots. So he did a little bit of everything for us. Had a real nice year. Next up, Jeff Reese. And Jeff was one of our posts we counted on. He shot real well from the field this year, 48%. averaged almost 3 points a game. He was 4th in rebounds. He 19 blocked shots, easily leading us. He does an excellent job with that. His best game was against Avon. He had 4 rebounds, 7 points, shooting 3 from 5 in the field. Next up is Greg Trencher. Greg was one of our outside sharpshooters. Ended up with 14 threes on the year, which led our team. He was 33% from the field, which is about all you can ask for from the three-point line. Free throws are excellent, 74%. He was 3rd in points on our team at almost 5.5 per game. He was 5th in rebounding. He was 2nd in block shots. He was 5th in assists. His best game against Firelands over there, he had 11 points. He was 4 for 4 from the free throw line, 3 steals and 4 assists. Next up, one of our captains, Brandon Agee. Okay, Brandon, we asked Brandon to do a lot. He played post, he played wing, he wanted to play point, but we didn't let him do that. But he did a nice job for us, one of our leading scorers, almost 5 points a game. He was 2nd in rebounding, 2nd in taking charges. He was 4th in assists, 2nd in steals. Started 15 games for us. His best game at Amherst, he had 14 points, 8 rebounds. And one of our team leaders this year. Next up, Brandon Grimm. Okay, Brandon, another freshman we brought up this year. Brandon responded really well to the challenge. You know, physically it was tough on him a lot of times this year. But he did a real nice job handling the point for us, shooting over 33% from the field, or from three-point land. Brandon had 14 threes. He was a 35% overall shooter, 77% shooter from the free throw line. He had 110 points, which led our team in points. He averaged over 1 rebound a game, 6th in steals, 2nd in assists. Ended up starting 16 games for us. His best game, I think, was Avon, where he had 17 points. He was 3 for 4 from 3. He had 3 assists and 1 steal. Okay, next I'm going to bring up Scott McCoy, another one of our captains. Okay, Scott, again, stepped in wherever we needed him, played wing, played some guard, 2 position, played a lot of point position, was one of our leading scorers, was 3rd in field goals made on the team, 3rd in rebounds, got almost 3 rebounds a game. He was 1st in steals with 33 on the year, 1st in assists, started 17 games. He had an excellent game here at Brookside when Brookside was here. He was 5 for 7 in the field, 12 points. He had 3 rebounds, 3 steals, and assists. And again, one of our captains that led us all the year. We're proud of the job that Scott did. Okay. And finally, I would like to bring up Andy Blazik. Andy was also one of our captains, one of the leaders of the team. We counted on him for scoring. He shot almost 55% from the field, which is excellent. He was our leading scorer at 5.7 per game. He was by far our leading rebounder on the team. 1st in taking charges. He was 4th in steals. He was 3rd in assists. Started 18 games for us. We played over at Oberlin. He had a double-double. He had 12 points, 10 rebounds, 3 assists, and he took a charge for us in that game. He also led us in charge. I think we had a real nice improvement, like I say, on the year. Did an excellent job stepping up, playing with these practices. I have one more award to give out, and that's our Sportsmanship Award for the JV team, and that's going to Andy Blazing. Okay, I want to thank these guys. I think we had a lot of fun this year. We may not win as many games as we would like to, but the important thing is enjoying ourselves and improving, and I want to thank them for the nice season that we had.
We got Coach Camp a basket of golf balls and gift certificate from Brentwood. We'd like to ask the JV cheerleaders to come up here, please. Stay next to your player. Thanks for all the candy bags and all the candy you gave us this year, cheerleaders. We liked it a lot.
Okay, and lastly, I'd like to introduce Coach Troy DeFranco with the Varsity Awards.
Okay, some of these thank yous have already been said, but I think it's important because during any season, especially one that we had this year with as much success that we had, there's a lot of people involved with making that happen. So I'd like to start by, first of all, this afternoon, thanking the junior parents for putting this together for me. My organization skills aren't great all the time, but last year at the banquet, I told them as sophomore parents that they would be in charge of the banquet. We're just going to keep on doing that this year. So the sophomore parents, next year is your year. But again, I'd like to thank them. I think they deserve a big round of applause for putting this together. I'd also like to thank Mr. Hughes, for making my job easy. Sometimes I flood him with a lot of questions, but he's always available to help me out. I'd like to thank Clarence Gray, who's not here tonight, but he did this score for us. I'd like to thank my dad for doing the scorebook and going to all the games and catching a couple things that I did not catch to help us out, like a keystone, number of fouls, and some different things like that. As far as knowing sports, I hope someday I can know as much as he knows about them because, I really look up to everything that he's done for me. Administration, I'd like to thank Mr. Sayers and administration, coaching staff, Coach Overy, Coach Camp, Coach Kabuski, for doing an outstanding job. The cheerleaders, thank you for decorating our doors. Thank you for not giving the players their cakes and candy till after the game. I'd like to thank my wife, Michelle, who puts up with a lot during the season, and my daughter, Erin. Sometimes I don't get to spend a lot of time with her. I'd like to thank my mom and dad again and my in-laws for all their support. And Sheila, I'd like to thank you too, because I know Rob usually gets home even after I do, so I know you put up with a lot there. I'd like to thank Don Binney and Grafton Cable. This year at the All-Star game, he He made tapes for the varsity players that were in it, so you guys will already be receiving a tape of the All-Star game, compliments of them. Thank you for that. The fans. I don't know what else I can say about that. That was the most unbelievable season I've ever been involved with, playing, coaching, whatever. You know, we were 20-2 during the season, but we were 22-0 with crowd support. As far as away games, you know, when I really realized it, I guess, is when we went up to Vermilion, because we go up to Vermilion every other year, and it's a pretty long trip, and usually it's during a snowstorm. But we were lucky enough to have decent weather for that. We get up there, and we had way more people than they had there, and you definitely got your money's worth in that game. We'll talk about that a little bit later. But you know, North Olmsted, we go North Olmsted, a Division I school. We have 2 to 3 times as many people as they had, and you know, I hope you players realize how lucky you are to have that support. And I know a lot of it comes, you guys made it happen because of how well you played and how much work you put into it. But you make sure you thank your parents and everybody that comes to those games, because you know, we come out in the tournament game, and it's so loud I can't even hear myself think. But again, thank you everyone for that. There's more, but I'll get to those later. I think we have some board members here, Mr. Jim Reese and Mrs. Pat Tomko. Thank you for coming. All right, I'd like to start off with 2 things, just so you players realize the impact that you've had on the community. The first one, I didn't realize this, Coach Overy told me this story. He heard on the radio on WEOL before our tournament game that there was a Midview alumni. I don't know who it was. Maybe been somebody sitting in this room, I'm not sure, that was going to Oklahoma for a trip. And he or she, I don't know, wasn't going to be able to listen to the game. They called WEOL because he wanted to hear the game and asked how he could do it. And they said the only way would be to put you on hold. So he was in Oklahoma listening to the game on hold on the telephone. So, and secondly, I got a letter the other day, and I want to pass it on because she asked me to pass it on to you players, and this is probably the only time I get to see all you guys together again. Judy Miller, a teacher at Bruth, 5th grade teacher, wrote me a letter thanking us for the season, thanking you guys for all the hard work you put in. And in her classes, she tries to stress role models. And there was a young man, 5th grader named Sean Carey, that she attached a little thing. He made a book. Well, I guess all the students had to make little books. And you know, in the beginning when they dedicate things, he dedicated his book to the Midview basketball team, and thanked you guys for all your hard work in helping him pursue his goal to get to the NBA. So. You know, so we're dealing here with you know, especially the 12 that I got to work with this year, varsity players. Not only a great basketball season, but you're talking about 12 great young men sitting right in front of you here. As far as an overview of the season goes, season records that we set here at Midview, we had 16 wins in a row to start the season. That set a record for wins in a row at any time during the season, but let alone to start it. 20 wins in the season is the most ever by a Midview team. Undefeated in conference at 14-0. I'm not positive on that one, but I'm not sure if another Midview team went undefeated in the conference, or at least tied for best, I know on that one. We stressed defense a lot this year. We ended up being the #1 defensive team in Lorain County, 45.3 points per game. We held opposing teams to 36.4% field goal percentage, while we shot 44.2%. So I think that was one big key to our success this year. I think another big key, I went to a clinic, John Cheney, coach at Temple, said the most important stat to him, this was before the season started, I went to this, he said was assist to turnover ratio. You know, I'm thinking about it, and you know, they say with point guards, a 2-to-1 assist to turnover. 2 assists for every 1 turnover is outstanding. And then, you know, the post people in the wings aren't supposed to be as good as that, but the point guard is the crucial one. And for our season, we had 349 assists, 311 turnovers for the whole team. And I think that was a big part. And when you look at the opponents, just so it makes numbers make a little more sense to you, our opponents had 404 turnovers, 248 assists. So they were 2-1 going the other way. So, I think I learned something important from Coach Cheney there, and that's something definitely that we're going to stretch. We had, probably 10 of our guys have more assists than they had turnovers, and that hasn't happened in a while. And that's a credit to you guys and how hard you work. I'd like to talk about a few memorable games. I don't know why I have EC down for the first one, but that one sure felt good. People coming back. We played back-to-back that night. I think we had Overland Friday night and then EC on Saturday. And I'm telling the papers that, we got the most important one tonight, Friday night, but in the back of my mind, I'm saying, geez, we better be EC. And that's what these guys were saying too, and they went out and pretty much beat them in all aspects of the game, beat them up and down the court. That was the first one. Probably the second most memorable game for me was, these are in the order they happened, not my particular order, was the first Wellington game where I got sick. I don't know how I got that sick, but I couldn't even move out of bed. And Coach Overy was a little bit nervous, Sheila said. But, I had all the confidence in the world. We think alike, we work well together, and there was no doubt in my mind that we were going to win that game with Coach Overy coaching that. Vermilion game, we talked about a little bit before. I could talk about that game for an hour. It gives me goosebumps just thinking about it. But we were down by 7 with about 90 seconds to go, and somehow we pulled it off. Just taking it down, one thing that happened in that game, Kyle Crawford hadn't scored all game, hits a 3, and then shoots 3 free throws in a row, scores 6 points in a matter of about 40 seconds. Ben probably makes the best steal that I've ever seen, and most meaningful steal in the game. He comes from behind a kid where at that point I think we were down by 1, time running out. He just laid out head first, tipped the ball. I think Doug ended up with the ball after he tipped it. We called timeout, come down, set up a play. Ben gets the ball, turns and nails a shot, and we end up winning it. But the thing about that game that I think helped us for the rest of the year is I never saw in their eyes for the rest of the year that there was any doubt. No matter how much we got down by, if you could come back from 7 down with 90 seconds left to go, you could come back from anything. So I think that was a big turning point for us. Probably our best game as far as overall domination was Fireland's 84-34 win. 50-point win, and everybody played and everybody contributed. Clearview, the first game, was another packed house. All of them were really packed houses. It was so fun to coach, and I know these guys enjoyed playing in front of it. But then at Clearview, we clinched the conference with a 61-39 win. And then, even though we clinched the conference, beating Keystone to finish it out, since we had to share it with them last year, meant a lot. And it meant a lot to cut down the nets here at Midview and have all the fans here to be able to see that. And then the Westlake tournament, we got a sectional championship out of it. I know we would have liked to got a little bit more than that. I think that was the 4th sectional championship in the school history. So these 12 young men made a lot happen. Like I said before, they did not only have a great season, but they're very coachable, very fun to be around, and you parents have a lot to be proud of. And I give you parents a lot of credit for raising them to be the young men that they are. 20-2 doesn't happen without a lot of hard work and a lot of guidance. At this time, I'd like to introduce Coach Overy.
I just have a few extra thank yous that Coach DeFranco didn't mention yet. There's a lot of people that makes a season go. And when a season goes really well, it just makes it that much more fun for these people. They don't get to play. They just have to watch and do their little duty. And we really appreciate the help that everyone is giving. Probably one of the most difficult jobs is the video people that we have. When you go to a visiting gym, they unplug your camera, they're kicking the tripod, or they stand up in front of you, and they really don't care if you get the video anyway. But the two people we had doing that this year did a real nice job, and the videos always turned out very good. That's Eric Mayer and Sabrina Hurst. Sabrina, please come forward. I think Chris is probably the second best trainer in the area, like Mr. Buzzard said. But here he's number one. And without him taking care of the blood and the sprains and taping and all that other stuff, I mean, it just is nice to know that you don't have to worry about anything. You can just go coach basketball, and when the kids get ill, just send them off to Chris. And so we appreciate all your help, Chris. Thank you. I don't think Kim Henson is here, but she did the JV book for the team this year, and she's done it for the past couple years. But I wanted to make a note that she is getting better. I think this is the first year that she's ever gotten a technical on the other team, and we started the game. Did we hit both free throws? We started the game 2-0 when the clock didn't start. So next year somehow if we can work a three-point play out before the clock starts, Kim's really going to be doing well. But thank you, Kim. The two guys that do a lot of our dirty work, Mr. Dependables is Trent Hughes and Mike Barnes. Trent, you can come up. I know Mike's not here, but these two guys are, you don't have to worry about anything. Trent, you got the flipboard, got it. You got the scoreboard, got it. You got the water coolers, got it. Coach, we got everything. So, very nice to have young men like that to take care of our dirty work. We run a biddy basketball program, and thanks to these young men over here, they put in their Saturday afternoons is the way the program's been going for the past couple years, and they really do a nice job. We don't have to worry about the kids not being there. I think it's fun for them. They get to referee and do all that stuff. This past year we had over 118 participants, which is our highest ever. And it's a tribute to these guys. I want to thank you for the fine job you do. We get a lot of good feedback because of you. And in a couple years when these kids are playing varsity, you can pat yourself on the back a little bit and say, hey, I taught that kid everything he knows. So nice job. Like Coach said, the fans this year have been unbelievable. We have a couple special fans that are there every night. No matter how the kids are doing, they're always up there cheering. They get the kids little gifts, cookies all the time, which I kind of like. And their support, it does go a long way, and I don't even think they realize it. So we got something a little special for Michelle and Leslie. Would you please come forward? I'd like to thank the coaches that we get to go hang out in the gym with every day. That's what everybody thinks we do, right? But Coach Kubuski and Coach Camp for the never-ending entertainment during the games and keep things loose and kind of fun. When you have a year like this, it is really nice with all the work that you put in. Everybody that does anything in their life should get the chance to be number one. It's really nice. And I'm kind of an emotional person if you haven't figured it out by now. And I don't know if I can get through the next one, but I'll try. I'm not kidding. It's my wife. Like Coach said, I'm the last one that leaves the gym usually. And I do it because I love the kids. And she's been excellent. I eat cold dinners and stuff like that, but she'll make them for me, and she's always there. And without you know, we get the credit because we're standing up here and stuff, but really the ladies make the things go. Michelle and Sheila and all the parents, you guys really make this happen. And just thank you very much.
I think your emotions are wearing off on me after being around you. Before I introduce the players and give them their day in the sun here I'd like to show you a couple things that they're going to get. This is all varsity players will get one of these. It reads Midview High School 1998-99 Lorain County Conference Champs, Sectional Champs, School Record 20 wins, 2 losses, School Record 16 in a row, #1 defensive team in Lorain County. And I'd also like to thank Mrs. May and Dynamic Tees for their donation of T-shirts for the players. Midview LCC Basketball 1999 champs. And on the back it says back to back. Next year we'd like to make them that says 3P. And they'll also be receiving stat booklets so they can't lie in about 10 years about what they did, like Doug's dad tends to do every once in a while. I'm going to bring the players up one at a time, starting with the juniors in numerical order. First of all, Ryan Frankel. Ryan played some wing for us. He also played some point. It was definitely a pleasure to be able to get to coach my brother. He's a hard worker. I found out some things about him though, coaching him. I thought he was just quiet, innocent. But what these players don't realize, the coach's office isn't insulated, so you can hear what's going on in the locker room. And he was always singing. I mean, at the top of his lungs. I couldn't believe it was Ryan. I'm like, that's my brother doing that? And he does this crane thing too. You going to demonstrate that or no? But on the serious side, he is a 4.0 student. That carries over in his basketball. He's a very smart basketball player. He shot 42% from the field this year. In the tournament game, he had 4 steals against Brunswick. Really did a nice job of stepping in and filling his role, making other players better in practice. And when he did get an opportunity to play, he usually made the most of it. He had an injury keep him out for 3 games, and we're very thankful that was all it was. He liked to mix it up, liked to be very aggressive, and improved a lot this year, and look for him next year to be one of the leaders. Brian Frank. Brett Boren. Brett also played wing for us. He shot 40% from the field. Hard worker. I have hard worker written down by all 12 of these. I guess that's why we were 20-2. Averaged 4.1 points per game. Probably the quickest player that we have. Some people may disagree with that, but one of the quickest, I should say. He had 20 steals this year. One of the best baseline penetrators that we have, getting the ball to the basket. He really improved his outside shot this year. If he improves it as much he did from last year to this year to the next year, we'll be in good shape. best game was probably versus Avon. Had 11 points, 4 rebounds, 4 assists, and a steal. Then he ended up, as he's getting to play a little bit more and playing a lot better, he hurt his knee in the Clearview game. I have to thank Chris for being able to get him back for the tournament game. But I do want to mention to you younger guys sitting over there, and Chris can verify this for me. They said if he was not weightlifting as much as he had been, he probably would have been done for a lot longer. So the weightlifting program that we've been on, and along with football, has really helped our program, and we got to keep it up. And then in the Brunswick game, like I said, after coming off a knee injury, he came back and was our leading scorer in that game, had 9 points, hit a big 3. It was one of those threes that I said, no, good shot. But really did a nice job for us, and another one that has great leadership qualities, and we're looking for big things for him next year. Brett Boren. Doug Gerber. Also, what they're getting up here are these. Doug, you can show them your board there. For each game, we had different. Every varsity player had their name. I should have had you guys show them their nicknames. They put those names on. I didn't. I don't know where they got them from, but everybody on the team had a nickname. And we'll talk a little bit more about what those boards meant. But Doug Gerber played wing for us. He could play point. Probably will play point next year and some wing. He was one of 3 players that started all 22 games. He came off a knee injury in football. That's the one thing. I mean, it's nice that these guys play football, but see this spot right here? Every time they get tackled, I'll be going like this. My wife told me she saw more gray over here. But, one word that can describe Doug is a gamer. I've never seen somebody that wants to compete as bad as he does, that loves the game as much as he does. He's a competitor. He cannot envision losing. It's about an attitude, and he's got a winning attitude, and he's a winning person. Again, very hard worker. He shot 43% from the field. He led the team in scoring at 12.3 points per game. He was the leading free throw shooter at 88.6%. He also averaged 4.2 rebounds per game. And, he's not 6'4", but he would come up with offensive rebounds that I had no idea. I mean, just out of the pile, he would come up and put it right back in. He was always around the ball, just has a knack for the game. He was second in the team in steals with 47. He was third in assists with 62. Again, he's a smart player. He scored 20 or more in 3 different games. 14 of the 22 games he was in double figures. One game that sticks out in my mind with Doug is the first Clearview game. Really stepped up and put us on the shoulders. Had 23 points. He was 2 for 3 from three-point land. He was 7 for 9 from twos. He was 3 for 4 from the free throw line, which I know he doesn't think is good. He wants to be perfect all the time, and that's why he's 88.6%, because he strives to be the best at that. He also had 6 rebounds and 6 assists in that game. And one little story about Doug. Grant Overy, Coach Overy's nephew, you've probably seen him running around in the stands. Usually sat behind the bench all the time. Well, I looked up before the game, and this kid's hair is all messed up, just sticking straight up in the air. And we turned around and asked him what he was doing. He said, "I want to be like Doug." Doug Gerber. One more thing about Doug before I forget, just to put so you know right now, he will be one of our captains next year, and looking for him to lead the way for us. Ben Elwell. Parents, you need to start growing them all this tall. Ben, post player for us, another one of the 3 players that started all 22 games. I consider him this year to be one of the best post players in the county that I saw. Again, a hard worker. He led our team in field goal percentage at 55.4%, which is outstanding. Rebounds, he averaged 9.9. Points per game, he was second on the team with 11, so he nearly averaged a double-double. He probably would have averaged a double-double if I didn't take him out in some of the games, where we had bigger leads, but a real big force on the boards and made it very difficult with the guards that we had for teams to defend us, because they couldn't concentrate on just the inside, they couldn't concentrate on just the outside. We had different people, not only starters, but people coming off the bench that contributed. He had 45 blocks this year. He had 49 steals, and that was first on the team for a postman. Led the team in steals and in block shots, like I said, and in field goal percentage. He was second in scoring and second in assists for a postman. He had 72 assists on the year, and he was in double figures for 13 games. I talked about the Vermilion game already when he hit the big shot to win it for us. In that game, he was 9 of 14 from the field. He had 20 points, 11 rebounds, 2 block shots, and 3 assists, and the game winner, of course. Against DC, I know a game that didn't take him much to get up for, because he was matched up against Matt Wilhelm, and I believe held Wilhelm to 5 or 6 points that game, who ended up getting, I think, Player of the Year and something in the playing field. Okay, but Ben did an outstanding job on him and every other post player that he guarded. Very good defensive player also. He had 10 points and 15 rebounds against DC in that game where he held Wilhelm to 6 points. Most rebounds he had in a game was 16 versus Wellington. And he also had 10 double-doubles, which means rebounds and points scored. In practice, sometimes he cleared out the paint, but we won't get into that. Ben Elwell. Josh Engard. I didn't say nothing. Now you look at Josh stand next to Ben here, probably 5'10", but played a post for us. Extremely strong, played much bigger than 5'10". Is that what you are? Is that good? 5'10"? All right. He did a lot of little things that maybe some of you fans didn't see out on the court all the time that made us a better team. And that goes as far as Ben's probably got bruises still from where Josh has been banging on him in practice. And really works, such a hard worker. In camp last year, he just, he was a kid that at the end of last season, we didn't know where he would fit in the program. And at camp, he just worked so hard and showed us that he really wanted to be a part of this team. And I'm very glad that he was, and I'm looking forward to another year with him. He had probably his best game was against Firelands when he had 8 points on 2 of 3 shooting, 4 of 4 from the free throw line, and 3 rebounds. He ended up shooting over 53% from the field for the year. A good hard worker and a pleasure to coach. Josh Engard. Shane Burnsworth. Shane's also postman, hard worker. I should have got a tape recorder. Shane's always looking for ways to improve. We have usually about 10-15 minutes before practice starts where I let them work on individual improvement. And Shane and Ben always played one-on-one because they wanted to get better. They wanted to bang just like Josh did in there. Shane and Ben had some real good battles in practice. Shane shot 41% from the field for us. He had 6 rebounds in 2 different games. Brunswick tournament game, had a real nice game for us. He was 3 of 4 from the field with 6 points and 3 rebounds. He was usually our first post off the bench, and he'll be fighting for a starting spot next season. And again, he's another player that's improved dramatically, and he's such a hard worker. I know he's going to keep on working and be that much better next year. Shane Burnswood. Jason Monsheen. Jason, another post person, another hard worker, and was in with all these post people down here, battling every day. He really carried us the first few games of the season, really carried this basketball team while everybody else was getting their football legs, getting rid of their football legs and getting basketball legs. Against Brookside in the beginning of the year, he was 5 of 6 from the field, 2 of 3 from the free throw line. He had 6 rebounds. One thing about Jason is, I know he'd rather play a 3-man than a post, but this year we had an open spot in the post where we needed him to fill in, and he never once said anything to me, but I know that he would probably rather play the perimeter, and he's probably going to get his shot next year, moving out to the perimeter. Very good 3-point shooter, and can get his shot off because of his height, but again, like I said, he's got a chance next year to do a lot of good things for us, and we're very excited about that. Thanks, Jason. All right, you guys can sit down. We'll bring up the seniors now. Wait, stand up one more time. You got it. Right there is the nucleus of what we have coming back for next year, and I know as coaches we're very excited about that. Seniors, Kyle Crawford. It's going to be weird looking out on the court next year and not seeing this guy out there. He's a point guard for us, a 4-year starter. He was in double figures in 10 different games. He was 3rd in scoring. He averaged 10.7 points per game. His role changed a little bit. I know his scoring average dropped a little bit from the previous year, but we had more people that could do different things this year. And I had talked to Kyle, and his biggest concern was winning. He didn't care about how many he averaged. He wanted to win, bottom line. And that's what you need to be successful. It got towards probably the second half of the season, and not to blame the fans or anything, but they couldn't hear me out on the court. And that's how I want it to be. But having a 4-year starter that thinks alike and knows where we're coming from as coaches, we just pretty much turned it over to him and let him run the show, because the players could hear him and they couldn't hear me. And having a 4-year starter in that spot definitely helped. He was 1st on the team in assists with 84. He was 3rd in steals with 43. He was 2nd in free throws with 75%. He had over 800 points for his career here at Midview. He is probably the premier defensive player in Lorain County, and as far as shutting people down, it goes back to last year. I don't know how many, I'm sure a lot of you went to those games also, but Steve Vega, Troy Mills, people like that, he shut them down, kept them under double figures. As far as man-to-man, one-on-one, he always guarded their best offensive player for us and really did a tremendous job. Point-wise, his best game was against North Olmsted. He had 24. He was 3 for 6 from threes, 4 of 9 from twos, 7-11 from the free throw line. He had 4 assists, 2 steals. 2 different games this year, he had 7 assists. The Westlake tournament, he had 16 points, where he was 10 of 10 from the free throw line and pretty much put the game away from the free throw line for us down the stretch. And I already talked about the Vermilion game when he scored those 6 points in the 40 seconds with a 3 and 3 free throws. Kyle Crawford. Bobby Couch. Bobby was the 3rd player with Doug and Ben that started all 22 games for us this year. He shot near 50% from the field for most of the year. Hard worker, showed tremendous improvement throughout the year and throughout his years here at Midview. The thing about Bobby, when he was in the game, he didn't make many mistakes. In 22 games, he only had 21 turnovers. So when the ball was in his hands, you knew it was going to get to the right person. He averaged 5.2 points per game. Against Oberlin, he had 13 points, 4 rebounds, and 2 assists. And then the final game at Clearview, when we clinched the conference, he had 14 points, where he was 2 for 3 from threes, 4 for 6 from twos. He had 3 rebounds and 3 assists. Bobby Couch. Kenny Scott is not here. He played point guard for us. I was talking about the assist to turnover ratio. He had 28 assists to 15 turnovers on the year. Craig Hughes. The Hewer. His shooting shirt came back with an R instead of an S on it, so he got a little nickname there. He has a 3.3 around, I think, 3.3 GPA. He's going to attend Bluffton, I believe, next year. He was our best three-point shooter. He was 10 to 24 on the year for 42%, and he was also 42% from the field. So I made a mistake as a coach. I should have told him all his shots should have been behind the three-point line. Another hard worker, and kind of like what I can see happening with Jason Monsheen. Last year, he had to fill in for a post for us and felt a little bit out of position. And this year, we were able to get him back out on the wing where he felt a little more comfortable. He got much more aggressive, used his size to get some big offensive rebounds for us, and he played his role extremely well. It was really a pleasure to coach Craig. You could look down the bench and say, I need some offense. Boom, Craig, you're in. Very good shooter. Against Firelands, he had 13 points, 2 of 3 threes, 2 of 5 twos, 3 of 4 free throws, and 4 rebounds. Against Keystone, the last game here, when we ended up going 14-0, it was a fairly close game going into the third quarter, and then Craig decided to catch fire, hit 4 of 4 three-pointers to really blow the game apart. A very capable shooter, like I said. Amherst, he did the same thing. He had two threes in the second half. I think they were both in the fourth quarter. So like I said, he was a pleasure to coach, and he's going to be very successful in college. And I do have to talk about the heel dunk. He decided, was that Firelands game, Craig? So he always says how he could dunk the ball, and his goal was to dunk in the game. He decided in the Firelands game at the breakaway at the end that he was going to go up and dunk it. And he missed it. But that's not the worst part. The next day he comes into practice, he's got his arm all taped, he's got a sling on his arm. Like, what's wrong? It's like, when I fell and dunked it, I got hyperextended a little bit, so. But he was able to come back from that. Craig Hughes. Eric Rosen. All right, Eric, 2.5, almost 3-year starter for Midview. Definitely our leader. His leadership abilities will definitely be missed here, and I thank him and all the seniors for the leadership that you gave us. Eric plans to attend Ohio University next year. Another hard worker. He had 7 games where he was in double figures. He shot over 51% from the field. He averaged 7.9 points per game, 4.9 rebounds. He had great mechanics as a post player. And again, he's not real tall, but he was another player that, as a junior, I believe, we had to move him to a post where he started out on the wing and really developed down there. And always had coaches saying, I can't believe what you get out of Eric Crozier. It's not what I give him, it's what he gives to the basketball. And he was always giving his best and doing everything he could to improve, diving. He got ripped off this year on charge calls. We used to call it a Crozier when you take and that dates back to Brad sitting over here taking charges. But it seemed like every game we'd come back and Eric would say, "You look at the tape, coach, wasn't that a charge?" And most of the time it was, but for some reason they did not want to give him that call this year. But he was willing to sacrifice his body for the team. He had 6 steals in 2 different games. Against Amherst, he had 19 points, where he was 8 of 11 from the field, 5 rebounds. Against Brookside, he had 11 points and 9 rebounds. And then the Westlake tournament game really stepped it up for us, 16 points, where he was 7 of 10 from the field with 5 assists. Eric Crozier. All right, Coach Overy, we'll get into our special awards now. Coach Overy has 3 that he would like to give.
The first special award I have is the free throw award. Coach DeFranco kind of gave this one away when he said what his free throw shooting percentage was. You can describe this young man as very, very consistent. When you shoot 62 of 70, 88.6%, lead the county in free throw accuracy, you've dedicated yourself to shooting the basketball. When there's free time, he used it to shoot, and shoot some more. And I know that after practice, he goes home and shoots some more. So the free throw award this year goes to Doug Gerber. And something else that can be said about the free throws he made in the game is a lot of them were very critical. They were big free throws that we needed. And, most kids would feel pressure, but not Doug. He just nailed them. The next award is the Team Sportsmanship Award. This young man has matured a lot over the 4 years in high school and in our program. He's a role player. He's a big asset to our program and can be counted on to give 100% all the time. He practiced hard, played hard, never complained about starting or playing time. He wanted the team to be successful. The Sportsmanship Award winner is Craig Hughes. The next award is the Most Improved Award. There are quite a few players that deserve this particular award, so what we decided to do is, instead of doing it on a one-year basis, we were going to do it on someone that has improved over the course of 4 years in high school here at Midview. He made great strides. Went from a kid that was passing me water his freshman year to playing time about halfway through, understood the program, made a lot of friends. Sophomore year, something happened between those summers. He decided he was going to be a basketball player. Between his freshman and sophomore year, really worked hard and played a lot his junior varsity season. And then last year, he was a big part of what happened with that team winning a conference championship. He worked very hard, shot 50% from the field, and this year's most improved player for the past 4 years, I would say, is Bobby Couch. For any younger person I don't care if you play soccer, basketball, whatever, if you don't think you can do that sport, take a look at that kid. You can do it.
All right, I have 4 other awards that we're going to give out individually, but I would like to recognize a couple things. I think we have plaques. Yeah. As far as all conference, all county, and things like that goes, we had 3 people make first team all conference out of 6 in the conference. And this year, first team all conference were Doug Gerber, Ben Elwell, and Kyle Crawford. Honorable mention all conference, we had Eric Crozier. All-County, we had Doug Gerber and Kyle Crawford. And our second team, All-County, was Ben Elwell. And then we also got one person that got mentioned on Northeast District, and that was Doug Gerber. Like I was saying before, for the All-Star game, the players are getting tickets for, we had 3 players represent Midview and did an outstanding job, and they were Kyle Crawford, Bobby Couch, and Eric Crozier. All right, the next award that I'm going to give out is Outstanding Defensive Player Award for this year, and that pretty much speaks for itself. The guy that we put on the other team's best player and was able to shut them down all the time, the Defensive Player of the Year, Kyle Crawford. Offensive Player Award, again, speaks for itself. Has led us in scoring this year, led us in free throw percentage this year. Offensive Player Award, Doug Gerber. And I said we would. One more, yeah. Coaches Award. For Coaches Award, we want to look at somebody who was a leader, led the team, and had any problems, he was able to come to us, and he's done it really ever since he was a sophomore. He was just been a leader. That's just the type of person he is, Eric Crozier. And before I give the final award, I would like to wish all the seniors, Bobby, Eric, Craig, Kyle, the best of luck, and you will be missed, and we expect to see you back here at the games. But you guys are a big part. You guys were able to get back-to-back conference championships, and that's something that a lot of people can't say. And I just want to congratulate you guys on that. And the final award that we have, we showed you the boards up there. We decided at the beginning of the year, the person with the most stickers on the board at the end of the year would be MVP. And the biggest reason for that is we gave stickers for taking charges. We gave stickers for field goal percentage. We gave them for free throw percentage. We gave them for Mr. Defense, Mr. Hustle, Super Sub, Big Play Award. Just about everything, assists, every part of the game that's important, rebounds, and the person that had the most and is definitely very deserving of this award, the MVP from 1999, is Ben Elwell.
I hate to sound repetitious, but I'd like to thank Mr. Hughes, the cheerleaders, the parents, especially the coaches, for all the time and effort they put in. Without them, we wouldn't be a team. I mean, they guide us. Yeah, we play, but they get all the credit. They guide us. They do everything. The cheerleaders, thank you for all the decorations, candy, keeping our spirits up. It means a lot to us. Maybe we don't show all the time, but it does. If you'd like to come up now, we got something for you. Yeah, no. Hey, you got one? this for the coaches too and little Aaron. For Coach Overy, we noticed that he doesn't have too big of a clothes selection or jackets. We always noticed him wearing his Midview jacket around, so we got him a little something that he can wear other than that. And Coach D's always talking about how he wants his little daughter to be in the WNBA, so he can retire early. And so we thought we'd start her off early and get her a little gift. Coach DeFranco, we got him a little something to always remember this season. I know he always will, but this is a little extra something that we got for him.
Season to remember 1998, 99, 22. And I want you to notice that I'm higher than all these guys.
To the coaches and players, I'd like to thank you for the greatest season of my life, probably the greatest year of my life for you football players. And I'd just like to say to the underclassmen, just keep working hard. Make it a three-peat, get further in tournaments. Just good luck in whatever you do.
We got one other gift for Chris, the trainer. I know I've been in there for all three of them. Gift certificate, I think, to This is my fourth year, and I want to thank everybody, the fans especially. But being here 4 years, I've been through a lot of stuff with these coaches and everything, and I just want to thank Coach DeFranco and Coach Overy individually very much for influencing my life in a lot of ways through basketball and being there for me through thick and thin a lot of the time. So just want to say thank you.
just going to take like 2 minutes here, if you don't mind, since a lot of the parents are here on this golf outing, so we don't have to have a separate meeting. For you underclassmen, freshmen, sophomores, and juniors,